You are now tuned in to the AddictedToSuccess.com podcast, where geniuses, entrepreneurs, and next-level game changers share their juicy little secrets on achieving massive success. This is the advice you wish you heard years ago. Be prepared and take note as we expose the realness and the raw of what it takes to be successful on AddictedToSuccess.com.
Now, before we get into this interview, I have an exclusive opportunity for you that I'd love to bring to your attention. And that is, I have just launched a 6 to 12 month mastermind called the Circle of Influence, where I'll be taking you under my wing to show you how to build a platform online that generates an income for you so that you can have more freedom in your life. I'm also going to show you how to become a powerful influencer online so that you can score interviews and so you can get exposure on major publications and platforms. And I'm going to even show you how to build these platforms yourself, such as a website, a podcast, a YouTube channel, and a social media following so that you can get your message out there to millions. I'm also going to show you how to network with other incredible leaders online so that you can interview them and so that you can collaborate with them, and really show you how to refine your story so you can share it in an unforgettable way to score more interviews, to score book deals, and to gain more speaking opportunities so that you can become a powerhouse leader. Now, if this speaks to you, make sure you head over to iamjoelbrown.com/apply and get in before I close my doors on this live, interactive, exclusive opportunity where I'm going to go deep with you and with the community of Circle of Influence Game Changers. Don't miss this. Now let's get into this interview. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Addicted to Success podcast. I'm your host, Joel Brown, and I'm here today with the Millennial Mentor, the Swiss Army knife of leadership. He also founded an incredible leadership training organization called Founders, and is a personal branding and biz coach. He is the host of Leaders Create Leaders, and this guy just has such an incredible heart and is just a man of his word. And I'd love to invite you into this space right now to jump in, to dive deep with Gerard Adams. Gerard, welcome to Addicted to Success.
Wow, bro. Thank you for that intro. I feel like I should be running on stage right now.
Dude, you deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. You and I have connected a few times now. I think the first time we connected was with Peter Voog. Peter Voog invited us to come hang out in Temecula in California. And dude, I walked into the room and you were sharing this story of how, you know, this young boy out in New Jersey came in and you took him under, your wing, and you built this incredible organization called Founders, and it's just changed this guy's life. And you wanted that for so many people. And I saw you tearing up, man. Sorry to bring the soft side out of you right now, but I saw you tearing up.
I remember,
and it was so real. $1 million is a benchmark. It seems to be this thing. Like, I remember when I casted my 10-year vision, I said, by the end of my 10 years, I wanted to be a millionaire. And 2 years in, I was offered millions of dollars. And I realized, I'm like, why do I want to be a millionaire? I don't even know why. It's like a societal thing that I adopted, that this is the benchmark. And, you've obviously achieved a lot in the space, like financially, $50 million buyout for EliteDaily. And then obviously realize that, like, this just isn't it. Like, it's awesome to have that money. You can invest in awesome projects. Now you can create at an even higher level. But I mean, just real quick, take us on a quick piece of, I guess, your memory lane, right? Of what you experienced in that, because it would be like a tidal wave or a cyclone of going from like building and like investing in your business and not being able to spend much to having the 50 million and then stepping into a new space of service and building something else. Like, what was that experience like?
Most entrepreneurs actually don't make a plan financially, and it's an issue. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Now, I think that, like, just saying I want to become a millionaire because you just want to be able to call yourself a millionaire and you want to buy your first Lamborghini and you want to freaking like go and spend money on bottles, that's not the reason why you want to become a millionaire. But setting a goal and having a milestone of saying, hey, I want to break $1 million in profit in my bank account is a great goal, is a fantastic goal, because then how are you reinvesting that money? I mean, most people need to break the habit of spending and actually saving. So many people out there can probably say that they probably even call themselves millionaires, but if you have the action to say, if you have 7 figures saved in the bank right now, They probably don't.
Yeah.
And because, so like, I think financial planning and financial wellness is really important. I just wanted to touch on that. Maybe we'll go dive deeper on that. And then to answer your question, that was like the first milestone in my life. And then, I ended up turning that into 20 million and lost it all. So I was like ego shattered. I became addicted to success in the stock market, and basically like I was crushing it, but then the economy crashed. I made a couple bad investments, and and at that time I really didn't know how to properly invest just yet. I was a loose cannon, man. I was this young kid. It was like stock, whatever I felt was hot. I was like going all in and just writing checks. And I didn't have the right strategy, financial strategy, investment strategy. And lo and behold, a little bit of that hustle and luck played out. And I was able to bounce back because I figured out, what is my passion? What am I good at? By losing that money, losing that 20 million, it caused me to like dig deep into what skills do I have? And what do I love doing? What am I good at doing? And it came into like this content marketing. I'm a storyteller. I'm a great storyteller. Mm-hmm. I'm good at marketing. So I doubled down on that. I started making documentaries, and that's what led to let's start a publication. And then we bought EliteDaily.com for $9.99 on GoDaddy. And dude, it was a dream come true, because I went from typically being a solopreneur, and we went my marketing agency. It was like this lean, mean, company with like, I had, an apartment with like, 2-3 guys working with me, to now EliteDaily, which grew to 200 employees, a real business, having to actually go and raise money. And that was a totally different arena for me, which was like venture capital and what it's like to be an entrepreneur that can scale and attract $1 billion company like the Daily Mails, who bought us. And we had $1 billion company kind of analyzing us, and a lot more data analytics came into play there, and learning how to build a culture in an office, and understanding how to manage employees, manage a team, build a management team. So it was a totally different, a lot of pressure. It was the funnest point in my life as an entrepreneur, because every entrepreneur I think has somewhat of a dream of having that like Rob Dyrdek fantasy factory, like for me, EliteDaily was like that fantasy factory for me. People skateboarding.
Did you have the ping pong tables? Yeah, the ping pong tables and like
we had a gym downstairs. We had a terrace up top. We had a huge Buddha room where people can go and smoke if they wanted to smoke joints, which was crazy. But people ended up working later, working harder. If we let them be, we let our employees be themselves. And we created a culture where it's like, be yourself, dress how you want to dress, show up. But as long as you show up and you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're performing at a high level, then we'll support you, and we'll take care of you, and we'll let you do what you want to do. And we help people explore their passions even more outside of EliteDaily as well. And we brought in speakers to the office, and we brought in coaches to the office to teach people skills, to expand their skill sets. And we had parties, like straight up, like, we had parties and had people had fun. And, we hired really great leaders and really great women on our team that really changed the game for us. And next thing you know, that exit, we started getting negotiations with $1 billion company, and I didn't want to sell. And when we did, I was a little bit depressed, because I was like, this was my baby. I wanted to be the biggest millennial media company in the United States and then in the world. For me, that exit, $50 million isn't really, for me at the time, it's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. And I didn't, and when you have partners and things like that, I had this vision of building that into $1 billion company. So I was a little bit like, now what? And I also had these what ifs kick in, like, what if I didn't sell? Maybe it would have been bigger. Maybe it would have been, all these things kicked in. So it was a really tough time in my life where I came into a lot more money, an abundance of money, but I personally, mentally, spiritually was lost. I was like, well, now what? Like, now what am I going to really do? Because I still had so much ambition and so much so many dreams that I felt like I wanted to bring to the world. And I was looking at EliteDaily as the vehicle to do it. And now I was like from square one again. So it was a interesting point in my life when you have an acquisition. It's interesting.
So, and thanks so much for sharing this, man. I love it because you broke it down so well and took us on the journey. Dude, I want the listeners right now to be able to climb into the mind of G, right? And to understand your, in a sense, like your thought processes. Like, let's say, because you've, built quite a few successful companies already, and you have a hell of a lot more coming out of you. I know it. I can hear it when we talk. It's just like this and this. You got ideas and you're fired up. And yes, you're ambitious. Some would say you're probably addicted to success. You're just channeling that addiction into a better place, right? Let's say you come up with an idea. What are the first kind of thoughts that you have around it? And how do you jump into that with a solid plan? Just a general way of like thinking in the way that you do. Because I think a lot of people even struggle with where to start. Yeah.
I think as entrepreneurs, we all face this. I think you bring up a really cool kind of exercise in a sense. And because like, I can't even tell you, for everybody listening to this right now, how many, if I got a nickel for every idea that I've wanted to bring to life, like I'd be a billionaire at this point, right? Can't we get paid for our ideas? It'd be really cool. But yeah, I mean, I've had so many ideas. I have launched so many businesses. I would probably say I've launched, I don't know, man, probably 30 businesses.
Wow.
I'm throwing a number. I haven't counted specifically yet. I probably should, but I've launched a ton of businesses over a 15-year career.
Right. And what you see on the surface, guys, is listening. Like, probably, what do you think, man? Like 5 or 6 that are really taken to the surface and like in the public eye, would you say?
Yeah. So I would say 12 of them have been successful, and the ones that have become like uber successful, I would say, yeah, basically like less than a handful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I have been able to, within 12 of them, out of all the different ideas, I've been able to get a return on my investment. I've been able to have businesses that are still self-sustainable right now. So I've been lucky in that sense that, I've had a decent run. But I've had way more failures than I've had success. Way more failures than I've had success, right? And I think that's important for people to realize, is that regardless, when you go into something, you have to fail forward. You have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to make mistakes. And ultimately, if it doesn't end up working out, it's just a learning curve, and you'd be able to take from that and pour it into your next business. Like, I've learned so much from my failures, I've learned way more from my failures than I have from my success. And I think that that's really important. I think like starting off for me is, and I know it's pretty cliche, but like, why do I feel that I'm the right person to bring that idea to life? And I really want to understand, like, is this idea truly serving like bringing a solution and serving a customer that really wants this? Like, is the market really saying to me, like, they want this solution to this problem in the world? And I think the first thing that I do before anything, and I think this is probably the biggest mistake that most entrepreneurs make, is they think they know what the market wants instead of actually testing to see if the market, really needs it and really wants it. So the first thing that I typically do is like, how can I, in a lean startup methodology, like really just test the market quickly, like really just put up, and it's so easy to do nowadays with social media and like, creating just create a prototype, or, create a landing page and like really explain the product and explain what it is that you're launching, and run a little bit of traffic there and see what people say, and survey your audience. I think that those are like really the biggest thing that I would say is like, you have to test before you go and pour all this time and all this energy and all this money into launching it. Because so many entrepreneurs, like, they want to perfect their product and before launching. And I would say, like, as quickly as possible, how can you get and launch something that's not perfect, but then get feedback, and then from there iterate. And I think that's the most important. And then, like, I would say, I would also put pen to the paper and like come up with a plan, like come up with a roadmap. I've always been an entrepreneur that's go, set, ready instead of ready, set, go. And I think as much as it's important to test fast, it's important to also build out a roadmap and a plan of where you're going. Thinking about the destination, and reverse engineering where you're trying to take that company. And a lot of times plans, I would say most of the time, never work out the way that you plan it. But it is healthy for you as an entrepreneur to know what is your plan, like where do you truly want to take this company, and then reverse engineer it and simplify it. And then I would say the third thing, after kind of building out your roadmap, breaking that down, is how are you going to make money? Like a real entrepreneur and an idea is just that, an idea, unless you turn it into a real business, AKA turn a profit. So like the biggest thing that a lot of entrepreneurs do is they think right away like, oh, I have this great idea. Like, let me go and raise capital. Let me go and raise money. And that's the wrong way of thinking about it. That's not how you become successful. How do you create sustainability? And in order to create sustainability, you have to know how to be able to generate a profit. So what is your monetization plan? And again, that's like the first thing that I would tell you is like, figure out your business model on how you're going to turn a profit and test that. Because if you can't learn to find a customer that's going to be able to truly not just say they want it, but make a commitment financially and purchase it, whether it's a service, product, or technology, then you don't have a business. So you need to figure out where your customers are, how you're going to be able to attract them, how you're going to be able to convert them and be able to make a sale for that idea. And now you have a business.
Damn, dude, you're dropping bombs on us right now with all this advice. Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you, brother.
Sure.
So if you're listening right now, use that as a checklist. Like go in, replay this, rewind this episode back and just listen to the words that Gerard is saying there and write it down. Are you prepared to fail? Right? Do you have a vision, a plan? How are you going to make this profitable? Right? Just write these things down and get really clear on it because it's so important. Entrepreneurship is like a battlefield.
I was going to say, Joe, and don't forget the one that's, and why are you the person to bring it to life? Why are you the right person? Like, I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to realize, who they are and why it's important to them. That's a huge, huge, huge one. Why you and not the other person?
Yeah, I love the jumper that you rock often that says, know yourself.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Right. And what's funny, man, just like
Peter too, right?
Yeah, Peter Voog. Yeah, right. And you hang out with people like Peter Voog and Jay Shetty and Ryan Blair and Gary Vaynerchuk. Dude, I hear it in the way even that they show up because they're seasoned like you are as well in the space, and all of them are saying that too. Like that self-awareness is key. That knowing yourself is key. And it's this kind of like, I liken it to mature success because the early success is like, get the stuff out the way, make the money, buy the fancy things, do this and that, and then get to a space where it's like, wait a minute, this is more about not what I have, but who I've become.
Right.
And it's in your being that makes the difference. It's the energy you bring. You and I talk a lot about this, and we can go deep into the spirituality side of things. I think it's really important because we can chase the material for so long and then realize that there's something deeper and something even greater that we're connected to that has such a massive impact in our lives that a lot of entrepreneurs miss, to be honest.
Yes.
A lot of them, like they're spiritually bankrupt. They have a lot of these things, but they're like, Joel, what is it? And it's like, you're missing this part here. Your soul is screaming out for that attention and you're totally neglecting it for everything else.
Ooh, let's go into it. I mean, because that's what happened to me after EliteDaily. And, I think what we don't realize and it took me a long time, and I'm so grateful that I'm in a position that I am now, because like you, Joel, we're like a little bit of these older millennials now. We're where we can really pour into some of the younger entrepreneurs out there. And that's what it's all about. I mean, I wouldn't be successful if I didn't have great mentors, when I first started out and throughout my entire life. And it feels great now to be able to be, and I'm still a mentee. The first lesson is like, we're always students at this game, but the fact that we can now share our lessons. And if I would have known the spiritual component, when I was 21 again, or 22 or 24 or 26, like, dude, I know that I would have been able to manifest and created a whole nother level of abundance of money, love, relationships, connections. You know what I mean? Like, I would have been so much stronger as an entrepreneur. And the issue is it's all conditioning, bro. It's like, we've been conditioned so much throughout our entire lives that it's almost like we neglect that spiritual, soul, that intuition, that side of like that place where you truly seek purpose, and you're not, and you're detached from your ego. I just feel like, because at a young age we're conditioned, through school, through like what we eat, being told what to do, what's right, what's wrong, all the way up into business, and when we're so conditioned, and it's hard to tell people to be. It's hard, I feel like, to be really tapped in spiritually. At least it was for me, when you're broke. So like I feel like when you're young and you're broke, I feel like for me it was hard, because I was so addicted to the success of money. And I was like, because I need to be able to make money to breathe. And it's so interesting to me that so many entrepreneurs, I feel like they become more tapped in internally, more woke, more spiritual, I feel like, after they've attained some level of success. And I want to change that. I challenge you, Joel, to help change that. Like, change the fact that, like, you don't need to become uber successful to be tapped in. And I feel I neglected that, because I felt at a young age like I needed to make a certain amount of money first. And I feel like that's not the case. And I feel like you'll create more money in your life, more profits in your life, better relationships in your life, if you're able to start practicing, working on yourself internally. Now, like, however old you are right now listening to this, I don't care if you're 18, 19, 20 years old, or if you're someone's listening who's like 50, 60 years old. There's never a better time than right now, in this present moment, not worrying about the past, not worrying about the future, right now in this present moment, to start asking the tough questions, and to start figuring out, like, why are you here in the world? Why are you truly here? And what do you have to give to the world? And who are you trying to become in order for you to be able to create that reality that can manifest all of those desires that you have in your life? That's more than just money. And for me, it took me a long time to really think about that.
Hey, it's funny, dude, because the picture on the wall behind you said it says the time is always now.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome, brother. That's awesome. And to that point, I know that you and I were having a conversation a few nights back, and you shared with me a conversation that you had with Jay Shetty, and it was off camera. Do you mind sharing that? Because I think it relates so deeply to what we were just talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it started with the story. It started with this story of the two wolves, and he explains it in the sense of like, basically, like, we've been feeding one wolf our entire lives, and not the other wolf. So what happens is like, you're feeding this wolf of like materialist, trying to get materialistic things. You're feeding this wolf of like, different achievements of building your company, or getting good grades, just trying to prove yourself to the world. And like, you're just like always feeding this one wolf, which is kind of like this like ego, and you're feeding your ego throughout your entire life, because we've been conditioned for that. We've been told that like at a young age, like we have to do certain things in order for us to be like, clap, good job, Johnny. Like, you got good grades and you're doing, whether it's a sports or, or school or, just different, all these different things at a young age. It's like you're conditioned. So, even when you get a job, it's like, it's the way people are conditioned to want to what's good and bad and what should be praised. And Jay said, he says, so like you go throughout your entire life trying to prove yourself until you realize you don't have to prove yourself to anybody. And, he goes, but then at that point, you realize that you haven't been feeding this other wolf. And guys, listen, trust me when I tell you, Jay Shetty tells the story a hell of a lot better than I do. Watch the episode 1 of season 4, Leaders Great Leaders, because you'll see Jay. Jay's an expert. Is an expert storyteller as well. And these are his stories. So feel free to please watch that episode. But what happened was off camera, he tells that story on the episode, right? And it's amazing how he breaks it down. But off camera, I end up asking Jay, I'm like, yo, Jay, bro, like, so talk to me about like, what's next for you? And like, what's your legacy? Like, what is your legacy? How do you want to be remembered? And he literally looks me in the eyes and he's like, bro, I don't care about legacy. Like I don't care how I'm remembered. I don't care. Like, he's like, most people do. That's ego. He's like, I'm okay with dying. I want to do what I can right now while I'm alive to make people feel empowered and feel hope. And if I can do anything right now while I'm alive to make a shift in people and make them feel that they're worth it, that they're worth everything and more of what they believe, and to have hope in their dreams, and to and to just basically make a shift in their life. Now he's like, that's my job, and that's all I can ask for. I don't need to necessarily be remembered. I don't necessarily need to have this like unbelievable legacy. That's not what life is about. It's about right now while we're alive. And wow. I don't know, it hit me the way that he said it to me. I was like, wow, like that's the true definition of like not being attached to your ego. Because most entrepreneurs, right? You ask them about legacy. It's like, I feel like it is ego driven in the sense of like, we want to impact as many people as possible that, because they care about like showing up to that funeral or like, I don't know. I just feel like it's never, I've never heard an entrepreneur be like, I'm not worried about that, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, so many people are like, think about legacy. And here's Jay, like, and I think that's been this like secret to his journey of becoming the fastest growing social media star right now, where he's gotten over 2 billion views, and he's like, I don't even care about them. He doesn't.
You can tell he loves the people, but the views, like for him, it just shows that his work is impactful.
Yeah.
It's funny too, man, because I was thinking about it. Like, let's say you die, right, and you go off to heaven, or, some people believe paradise or whatever it may be. Do you think when you get there, you're going to be like, hey guys, are you clapping for everything that I did back on earth? You're going to clap for me? You're going to praise me for what I did in this other place? It doesn't happen like that. I don't believe it happened like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's funny, man. It's funny. I love this, bro. I love it. And I love the fact that I even get to witness your growth too, and see just in such a small amount of time, you're growing so rapidly, and your heart is growing, and spiritually you're really stepping into that. And, we talk a lot about world class. I know for you, this is the next chapter. We can continue to talk about all the other amazing things you've created, but I know that you've just got so much more that you are looking at stepping into. So what is world class to you? What does that mean? And where are you taking everything next?
Yeah, so I got to a point in my life where I really wanted to surround myself with other, I felt, entrepreneurs, and for me, leaders, because it doesn't necessarily always have to be specifically an entrepreneur. I know plenty of leaders that are entrepreneurs, that are part of an organization, that are pastors, that are, serving in other capacities other than just entrepreneurs. And, but for me, I wanted to surround myself with like leaders that I felt were truly tapped in, that were performing at an extremely high level. And I really realized that like the more that I was surrounding myself with people that I felt were like performing at a really high level, had complete clarity as to what they wanted to bring to the world, who they were. And, I felt we're going out there and like showing up in the world, like extremely powerfully for people. Like I was like, I want to be surrounded with those kind of individuals. And then I want to do it at the highest level. I had this dream of like, working with the best leaders in the world. I admire like someone like Tony Robbins that works with like the Ray Dalios of the world, or, he's working with head coaches of like the Golden State Warriors, or, some of the biggest investors and leaders in the world. He's sat with like Nelson Mandela. I mean, he's worked with like some of the most unbelievable people in the world. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to help grow and empower and also learn from some of the best leaders in the millennial generation. And I want to be someone who can help them to elevate their game spiritually, physically, mentally, and financially, because leaders all need support. Like we all need support, even myself. Like I even need support. I mean, Joel, I that's why I surround myself with people like you. I called you recently, like, hey, Joel, and I was talking to you about like my love life and relationships. I mean, no matter what, all leaders need support. We all need that strong circle. I don't care if you're a billionaire. If you go ask a billionaire, you ask Richard Branson. Richard Branson works with Tony Robbins. Richard Branson has a circle of influence around him of powerful leaders and powerful mentors and powerful coaches that guide him, that support him in all areas of his life. And I want to be someone who supports those type of leaders. And for me, I want to do it at a world-class level. And world-class for me, plays into multiple aspects of life. If you look at the definition of world-class, it means to be amongst the best. That's world-class. It's to be amongst the best, to be amongst the elite. And for me, that's what I want. I want to do everything world-class in my life. I want to live world-class. I want to have a world-class lifestyle. I want to provide a world-class lifestyle for my family. I want to be around world-class individuals. When I do work, I want to do it at a world-class level. And I want to treat people world-class. Whether it's the doorman, whether it's a billionaire, no matter what, I want to show up my character. I think when I think about a leader, I think about character. I don't think about just like how much money they made, or, they were the founder of this or that. Like, I don't want people to remember me because of my exit with EliteDaily. I want people to remember me because of my character, the way that I showed up consistently, whether I was on stage or whether they met me at a cafe and they bumped into me, ordering a coffee. Like, I want people to realize that my character is what makes me a leader, the way that I am, the way that I show up, as a human being. So for me, it's that. So I decided to partner up with an unbelievable leader who I ended up hiring as a speaking coach, because I wanted to be world-class at becoming a speaker, because I was speaking in Dubai and Bali and Harvard and Silicon Valley, and I never hired a speaking coach. I was always speaking from the heart and speaking because I lived it. I think it's easy to be a speaker when you talk from experience, but there's another level that you can go to, which I think makes you world-class. And that comes with experience, like understanding frameworks and understanding the actual real tactics of like how to manage a stage and how to manage an audience, how to make them feel a certain way, how to break down your stories in a certain framework. And I was like, man, like, I know I'm good, but I want to be great. And I hired Yai, who I think is the best millennial speaking coach currently right now. And I haven't seen anybody at the millennial level teaching that has been on over 500 stages. So I hired him, and he took my game to a whole nother level. Next thing I know, I had people crying in the audience, and I was getting standing ovations, and I felt more confident, felt more powerful. I also had a better outcome for my audience. And when working with him, we came together, and I was like, man, I want to do this, but I want to do this with helping people on their personal brand, because I've been able to build my personal brand over the past 3 years and understood the value of building a powerful personal brand. But I want to be able to also do it with adding more value to a lot of my leaders, because I was meeting a lot of leaders, but they didn't know how to brand themselves. They didn't know how to tell their story. They don't know how to actually speak on stage or speak on camera and build a personal brand and build their community. And at the same time, I wanted to be able to teach them how to also monetize their expertise while doing it. Because if you just go to build a personal brand, it could very quickly become an expensive hobby. And although you may be making impact in people's lives, you can be doing it in a way that like is really boosting your ego and maybe impacting some lives, but not doing it in a way that I think can make extremely massive impact. And I think you do that by creating an offer so that they come into your world and not only just digest your content, but they go to your, like you, Joel, like go to your mastermind in Bali and go and get into your coaching program. And you're actually can take them through steps to really elevate them in their business and in their personal life. So what we've done is, I partnered up with Yaya. I decided like not only can we give them the component of teaching them how to become a world-class speaker, not only can I help them with becoming a world-class brand, but we can also teach them how to build a world-class business around that's impact-driven, that's working with people, and teaching them how to show up powerfully as a coach. So that's what I'm doing, bro. I created this whole program called World Class Leaders. We have a 90-day program where we're working with them. We're taking them through this framework called the MAP, which teaches them how to monetize their expertise, amplify their message through the power of speaking, and then promote their personal brand. We have a 90-day program, and then we have a 12-month mastermind. I'm excited about that. We just launched that. We're doing different experiential, intensive location, like events in different locations, similar to what you're doing in Bali, which I'm excited to go and be a part of. And man, it's my life's work. I love it. This is what I really enjoy doing. I'll always be an investor and doing startup stuff, but ultimately when I started doing that work that we were talking about spiritually, I was like, what do I want to bring to the world? Who am I? Like, why am I here? And for me, it was like, I want to work with powerful leaders. And I want to, and for me, it's not so much of a startup. Like I want to do something that is like hands-on, because I did I've done like running courses and things like that, and that wasn't too fulfilling. For me, it was like I got the most fulfillment when I was in the room with people, and I was speaking to people like I am with you right now on a call, and like face-to-face working with them, teaching them how to step up and become a world-class leader. So that's what I'm doing, bro. I love it. I'm excited about it. And going all in on that, man. And anybody who wants to learn more about that, all you got to do is go to worldclassleader.com and come into the world, and we'll set up a call and see if, so I can learn more about your goals and what you're doing and see if it's a fit.
Oh, I love it, man. I can feel the passion just oozing through the earphones. That is amazing. Love it, man. Love it. It's interesting. I remember having a conversation with Yaya. Probably was about a month or so back, and he said something so profound. He asked the question. He posed this. He asked, "Would you like to be the flower or the bee?" And he said, "The bees go to the flower. But the flower, the bees come to it." And it was just really profound. It hit me so hard. I was like, dude, that is so freaking true. Like I've always, even in my spirit, has always wanted to be the flower, right? Cool to be the bee to learn, but ultimately the goal is to be the flower. So the people come to it, it's just profound. He's a great guy, man. Love his energy. Love what you guys are creating together. And no doubt you're going to just, tear the world apart and put new amazing things in place and reinvent some incredible things. And I'm excited to see what you guys can, do in the world. So thank you so much for sharing that, man. Real quick, what are your habits, or what's a kind of a day in the life for Gerard Adams, just for the listeners that are listening because, I believe habits is such a crucial thing, because they're the small percentages that add up to the big percentage at the end of the day. What could they implement into their life to really fine tune, to optimize their life, like you have, to become a world-class leader?
Yeah. For me, it always starts the night, first of all, I'm gonna give you like what my daily life is like on a day in the life of me as a world-class entrepreneur. But also for me, I really believe it starts with like planning out long term too. I think your habit, like one of the biggest habits that I have really brought into my life, which I think is really important before just getting into the daily, is I really looking at your life and creating a 5-year financial plan, and also a plan for your personal life and for your finances. Like in 5 years, I want you to think about like basically in 5 years, for instance, like how much do you genuinely believe that you want to be making? How much like do you want to be bringing into your life financially? For you to be able, where do you want to be living so that you can be able to know where you're going? Do you want to be starting a family? Like I think just like looking at the outlook of your life, what do you want to be doing in your leisure time for fun? Are there things that you want to be able to like start to do that you haven't been doing now? Like for me, it's art. Like I really want to start to be, creating more art in my life. I want to start writing books. I think, who do you want to be surrounding yourself with? These are some questions that I think people should be like really laying out, and think long-term in 5 years. Like, where do you want to be in 5 years? And because I just think it's really important for you to know that what you're working for, because then it's easier for you to look at those answers, look at that 5 years. Like, you know what I mean? Hey, I want to be making $100 million a year in 5 years, right? Fuck, that's great. Like most people think to themselves, like, I want to be a billionaire, or I want to be whatever. Like I said, I think financials are important. They are important. And most people don't ever plan. Like, what does that look like for you? So in 5 years, if you want to be making $100 million a year, who do you need to become to be that individual that can make $100 million a year? Or maybe it's $10 million a year. Maybe it's $5 million a year. Whatever it is, whatever that number is for you listening right now, put that number. But it's going to help you to realize who you need to become in order for you to be able to achieve that over the next 5 years. Because literally, when I tell you that the habits that you have on a daily basis are in direct correlation to the outcome of your life in 5 years, I kid you not, that's the truth. And 5 years is going to go by so fast. I sold my company EliteDaily in 4 years. It was like a blink of an eye. I couldn't believe it. But in 4 years, right, I went from like someone who lost $20 million to now selling a company for $50 million. In 4 years, that can happen to anybody listening to this right now. But you have to do certain things on a daily basis. And the first thing that I want to ask everybody to do is sit down by the end of this podcast and write down your 5-year vision. Financially, where do you see yourself living? Do you want to build a home? Do you want a sick penthouse? Or do you want to be living on a beach in Bali? Do you want where do you see yourself living? And do you see yourself with a family? Do you see yourself with kids? So you can start to think about them. Well, who do you need to become now? Because if you think you want to have kids in 5 years, you want to be a great father, you want to be a great husband, you need to start acting like a king. Right now, you're probably acting like a knight, or you're acting like a prince as a playboy. But you need to start becoming a king, right? We talked about that, Joel, me and you.
Yeah.
So, think about that. And then I think it's important for you to also think about what skills you need to be, what skills that you want to grow over the next 5 years. What things you want to do in your leisure. I think it's important to think about fun. Like I mentioned, again, I'm just repeating these. What are the things that you want to be doing for fun in your life that you want to accomplish over these next 5 years? It's interesting. People wait to make a bucket list until they're like 70, 80 years old, or I don't know, maybe 50 years old, midlife crisis, right? And they're like, let me make a bucket list. No, what's stopping you right now, today, from doing the things that you always dreamed of? And and let's break those things out for the next 5 years. Do you want to be going skydiving? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want to go and live in a city you've never lived in? Do you want to tap into becoming an artist and create art? Do you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle? Do you want to, go and race a Lamborghini around a racetrack? Do you want to, whatever, man? Like, do you want to learn how to cook and become a chef? Do you want to open up a restaurant? Do you want it for fun? Do you want to open up a nightclub? Do you want to, I can go on all day. Do you want to go to an F1 race? Do you want to go to sit courtside at the NBA Finals? Do you want to go to a Super Bowl? Do you want to go to the U.S. Open? Do you want to go and meet Cristiano Ronaldo? Do you want to go and live in Bali for 6 months with Joel Brown? Write down your bucket list right now so that you can manifest it. It's really important. You know, I think these are things that I think that's first for me that led me to understanding my habits. Now let's go into the daily habits. Now you can understand why are you creating these habits? Because now you're like, oh shit, now I'm ready to take ownership of my life. Now I'm ready to take ownership of my habits. Now I'm excited to change my life and to change my habits and change my routine. Yes. Because habits equal success. And habits, what I will tell you with habits is it's about discipline. You need to ingrain in your head that you need to have discipline in your life. If you want to create an abundance of all these things that we just listed, it's discipline. And that discipline now comes down to the discipline that you will have on a daily basis. So now the first thing for me is every single night, Joel, put the phone away. Key. So every single night, an hour before you go to bed, and if that's really hard for you, at least a half hour. Again, discipline. Can you get the discipline to at least an hour to 30 minutes before bed, completely put the phone away and to think about what did you accomplish in that day and what do you need to accomplish in the next day? Because that's what's going to help you solve anxiety. I suffer from anxiety, Joel. So I don't know how it happened. I never used to, but now I do. And it all comes from just worrying about the future. But if you sit down the night before for 30 minutes and you start to just write down, literally not with your phone, but write down what did I accomplish today that I'm grateful for? Start with gratitude. I'm grateful, man. Today was a great day because what didn't I accomplish that I need to accomplish? And then what am I going to actually accomplish tomorrow? What are the 2-3 things that without I don't care what happens, I'm going to accomplish those things. Write those down because now you're going to go to bed with some peace of mind. You're going to go to bed with some clarity. The next thing is the habit is sleep is really important. 8 hours. I personally need 8 hours. I think that if you have 8 hours, you're going to crush it. I think that's optimal sleep. But some people, it's 5 or 6, cool, whatever. That's up to you. But again, sleep is really important. Wake up. I know a lot of people say to wake up at 4 in the morning. One of my people that's a world-class leader that I work with, that's a friend of mine is Eric Thomas. My man is a savage. He's going to sleep and waking up at 4 in the morning. I personally think that you do not need to do that. You have to figure out what works for you. What works for other people doesn't always work for you. I can say that the earlier you wake up, the more that I feel that you're going to accomplish, and the more I feel, the more momentum you get in your day. But I don't think that you necessarily need to wake up at 4 in the morning. I think that's crazy.
What time does Eric Thomas go to bed? Do you know? Because you've been around him a bit.
He must go to bed. I don't know specifically, but I think it's probably 8, 9 in the morning. I mean, 8, 9
in the evening.
Pretty early. That's hard for me. You know what it is? I think if you're creative, it's hard. I have a creative mind. I'm a creative entrepreneur. So for me, it's just really hard for me to go to bed early because at night, that's where my mind starts to think of my ideas and I don't know. It's just for some reason that happens. So it's really difficult for me. Therefore, I typically go to bed at 11 p.m. It's late, bro. It's late for me. And I'm not going to lie. There's nights I don't go to bed till 1 in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You and I both, man. I'm the same.
You're the same, right? So
nocturnal.
It's hard for me to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning. And my sleep matters to me because I know that I'm not going to perform at a high level if I don't get that sleep. So for me, it always depends on what time I go to sleep, and then I'll wake up in the 8 hours after that. So I think waking up, the first thing I do is the exact thing I told you in going to sleep. No phone. Wake up, no phone. Every single one of you who's listening right now, the first thing you probably do when you wake up is you grab your fucking smartphone. I would suggest you do not do that. Give yourself 15 minutes to get up without your phone. Even if you have the alarm, cool, shut your alarm off on your phone, but don't look at it. Don't open up your emails. Don't open up your Instagram. Don't open up don't open Facebook. Don't open up your text messages. Don't look yet. Because the moment you do that, man, you are going to get caught into the cycle. And
You know what's crazy, dude? You know what's crazy? And if you're listening right now, if you're finding it hard to not look at your phone, just do what Gerard and I did. Gerard jumped, when he was in Mykonos, jumped into the water with a flamingo and forgot his phone, and that got wrecked. And then, yesterday, I dropped my phone into the pond as I was walking through the villa here in Bali, and it's dead. And man, your mind goes crazy. Like at least for the first 12 to 24 hours, like I'm checking my pocket, realizing my phone's not here. I can't read any messages. I'm like, man, what am I going to do? It feels like the end of the world, but obviously it's not. Yes. And then I'm in a space right now where I'm actually starting to like having the peace. Yeah. You probably felt it too when you were in Mykonos, right?
It's difficult, bro. It's difficult. When that happened to me in Mykonos, I kid you not, man, it was like FOMO kicked in, worry kicked in. It was weird. What happened was, you know what happens? This is what genuinely what happens. It's what most of us fear. And most of us fear being like alone. Most of us fear being alone. Mm-hmm. And it's so powerful when you face that fear, and it's almost like that introvert. Like you have to now have that conversation with yourself and like think to yourself. And like, I just think it's really powerful, man. I think not enough of us do it because all day long we have the ability to just, get like, what do we do when we're bored, right? When you're in that taxi, when you're on that subway, when you're on that train, when you're on that beach, when you're in between meetings, what do?
Escape reality.
We escape reality, man. We check our phones. You know what I mean? Like, and it's really, and that's the way we've been conditioned. So it's like when you can break that conditioning, which realize that scientists work at these apps to do that, to keep us looking, to keep us addicted, to keep us looking at those apps. Crazy. Bro, it's a sickness. It's a disease.
Yeah.
It's a disease. And that's why it's really important for us to go through this, at least have the habit of at night and in the morning having that time to ourselves, because you cannot let it control you. We control it. It's really important that you listening realize this, that like you cannot let it control you. We control it. It is a tool in our lives, but we do not need it.
Yeah.
And
G, you have 318,000 followers on your Instagram. It's not like you've got one person on there. It's like you have messages coming in and you have this happening all the time. I like that you have taken control of your mind and negotiated with it, because this is the big thing that I've realized too, is you have to negotiate with your mind. It's crazy. Like it'll tackle you. I did 4 days back, I did a 2-day juice cleanse. And dude, my mind on day 2 was like literally bringing up vivid pictures in my head, like right at the front here. I could actually see it in my mind's eye of waffles, peanut butter, chocolate waffles. Like, I'm not joking, dude. I'm not joking. And I look over at Emil, my business partner, and I'm like, dude, waffles. He's like, shut up. He's like, you ain't talking about waffles, man. He's like, it's not happening. He's like, be stronger than it. And I was like literally tackling my mind for like half an hour straight, trying to tell it to shut up. And I got to a place where I stopped. Dude, you could smell it in your nose. It's crazy.
I'm gonna take that as a challenge. I'm gonna do a 2-day juice cleanse, bro.
Everyone should. Everyone listening to this should do it.
Text you. I can't yet right now. I don't have a phone, but I'm gonna be like hitting you up about food. So Joel, the next thing that I do is, again, like I think it's important just to finish that, was when you wake up 15 minutes without the phone, think about what is it that you want to accomplish in that day. Maybe look back at that journal, what you wrote down. Is there anything new that sparked in your mind that you think you want to accomplish? It's crazy how much this stuff happens, but we don't write it down. There's been so many points in my life where I look back, I'm like, man, I've had so many good ideas, or I had so many things I was supposed to accomplish, but I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
And then what happens is all of a sudden the day starts and you look at your phone and then you got messages you got to get back to, and emails and meetings and this and that. And you just, bro, the day goes by. So wake up 15 minutes, write down what comes to your mind. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to achieve? And then the next thing I do is I go into the shower, bro. And this is really, really important. Now you could do one of two things. You can check your phone before getting in the shower if you really feel you need to, just because you may want to get back and hit up your partner, your business partner, some things. That's fine. You've done that 15 minutes. Or you can check it after the shower. That's up to you. For me, I do check my phone right before getting into the shower. And the reason being is the shower is a really important part of my habits. Right before getting out of the shower, I took it from a warm shower and I put on ice cold. I say my Our Father. Listen, I don't know if people pray. You can meditate in the shower. Either meditate or pray. It's up to you. For me, I kind of do a combination of both. For me, prayer is somewhat of a meditation for me. So I say my Our Father, and then I speak out loud to Jesus, to God, and I ask for the strength, the courage, the passion, the leadership, the give me the ability to have another day, another breath, to do God's work, to believe in myself, to overcome any obstacles, to overcome any challenges, to give the strength, to be able to pour that strength into others that don't have it. I ask for that calling, and then a lot of times I will say out loud if there's something that's bothering me, or if I feel like if I've sinned, or if something's bothering me. A lot of times I'll also pray for others. Please, God, protect those that are sick, protect my family, all those things. I do that, and I'm doing that in the cold shower to basically get my mind strong, that as I'm asking for these things, as I'm saying these things, I'm my body. I have to control my body. I have to control my mind, and almost as an act of suffering as well. And then I shut that shower, do the sign of the cross, and I just, for some reason, for me, that starts my day so powerfully, where I feel like, okay, I'm ready to be a warrior. I'm ready to go into war. I'm ready to go and take on my day and crush it. And I go out of that shower, I feel refreshed. Now I'm ready to tackle my day. I think having a healthy breakfast is really important. It doesn't have to be a big breakfast. It could be as much as a juice and like a little bit of fruit or whatever you want to have. But just having something, putting fuel in you, is so important. So for me, it's that. And then I always do a workout during the day. But this is my thing. Most people have a specific ritual for working out. I don't. I try to do it in the morning, but sometimes I have things that pop up, like an interview with Joel Brown for Addicted to Success. So I'll change my day from doing my workout to doing an interview. And then now I'm going to be working out today in the midday at 1:30. I'm dedicating myself to shutting down business, going to the gym. I'm meeting my trainer, and I'm getting in my strong workout. So I think every day getting an exercise, on the days you can't make it to the gym or get outdoors, at the very least, work out in your office or in your home. Push-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks. Just get a little bit going. You need to do that. It's really important for you to fight off the anxiety and fight off depression, fight off any mental I feel like just get the endorphins. That releases the endorphins of stress. And if you're an entrepreneur, I don't care who you are, you're going to deal with stress, because pressure is the amount of pressure that you can handle on a daily basis. Also directly correlates the amount of success you'll have in your life. Yes. Pressure, it's just the way it is. So you have to get those endorphins out some way, whether it's the gym, in your home, in your office, boxing. Do what you need to do to get those endorphins out on a daily basis. And those are like the majority of my daily habits. Other than that, it's like checking in with my team. I'm always making sure that I have on a daily basis. I have cadences. So I know very specifically my cadence to speak to my assistant to make sure that I'm on track with my goals and my meetings. I have a cadence with my content team. Every Monday I have a cadence with them. Tuesday I have a cadence with them. Thursday I have a cadence with them. So it's like, have cadences in your life of when you're checking in with your team. And also I would tell people to bake out periods in your day that are specific to you, like not for your meetings. Because I think that we can get caught up in taking a lot of meetings on a day-to-day basis, a lot of calls, sales calls, meetings, things like that. You need a certain point in your day where you, again, take a stop and start to analyze, okay, what am I doing? How am I doing it? Just take some time for yourself. That may be some time where you're journaling. That maybe take some time for you to just analyze how your team is performing. But you need to do that for yourself. I always do that. And then, yeah, man, that's like a typical day for me.
Dude, the energy you have, the ambition you have, the drive, the mission, the purpose, the clarity, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy and commendable. So well done, brother. And guys, if you're listening to this right now, that's world class right there. So take what you believe is very useful for you and make sure it's measurable and action it. Commit to it. And when it comes to habits, what a lot of people do is they have some negative habits in place, and what they do is they label it as bad or wrong, and they feel so beaten up and down about it. Instead of that, start stacking empowering habits over those and filling your life with world-class habits, just like Gerard. So Gerard, man, thank you for sharing that. That was amazing. That was an awesome breakdown. Thank you for making this an actionable episode as well, because that's what it's about, right, man? It's about taking action. The time is always now.
That's right.
Love it.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for everyone who's listening on Addicted to Success. I wish you guys all an abundance of success in your life. I hope all of your 5-year visions that you're going to write down after this podcast come to life. And the only way is if you take ownership and do the work on a day-to-day basis and realize the time is always now. What are you going to do? The last thing I would say is, what are you going to do today, right now, that's going to set you up to bring that 5-year vision and create that reality for your life?
Amen, brother. Amen. Gerard, where can we find you online?
Yeah, man. Instagram at Gerard Adams is my #1 platform. YouTube, Gerard Adams TV. You can look up Leaders Create Leaders. That's my show. We're on season 4. Joel Brown will be on the show. So guys, you want to be able to make sure that you watch the show. We just had Jay Shetty on. It was an unbelievable episode. Then we just had Kayla Itznius, who's one of the top 10 influencers in fitness in the world. We have Ed Milet, Eric Thomas coming on, and the list goes on and on and on. Gary Vaynerchuk was on, Lewis Howes, so many, Mel Robbins, so many amazing leaders in the world. So not only do I work with these leaders, but I bring them on the show. So you want to follow the YouTube, and it's also on Facebook Watch, the /Leaders Create Leaders show. And then if you are interested in looking into becoming a world-class leader, and if it's something that you're looking for in your life, whether you're a CEO of your own business, or you are someone who wants to become a world-class speaker, you want to become a coach, a consultant, all you got to do is go to worldclassleader.com/G, and you can find a training video, watch that training video, see if it's something that's interesting to you, and then you can fill out an application where we'll get on a call with you, and then we'll see if it's a good fit. And thank you, Joel, for providing the platform today to be on.
You're absolutely welcome, man. You crushed it. Gerard, we have one last question before we go.
All right.
Now, the question is, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your parting advice, what would that last 30 seconds sound like?
I would say that last 30 seconds, wow. I would say basically I would tap into, how are you finding the leader within? So many of us have such huge goals to lead this world, to make a change in the world, to impact people's lives, to make the world a better place, to push humanity forward, to achieve massive amounts of success and love and relationships and provide for our families. And we all have such huge goals. But I would say that none of that matters if you can't lead yourself first. You have to be a little bit selfish. You have to learn that in order for you to make any change in the world, the first thing you need to do is lead yourself. So how are you tapping into that leader within? How are you tapping into that soul that's inside of you that God has given each and every one of us, which is a gift that is so special, that is one of one? It's literally the aspect of becoming alive and becoming human is one is in 700 trillion or 400 trillion. It's so crazy to think about. And you were chosen. We all were chosen. So what I would tell you is the only way that you're going to make a huge difference in this world is if you take control and lead yourself. Be selfish. Live your best life. And don't let anyone ever hold you back from your dreams or hold you back from being you. Take complete ownership of who you are, what you look like, your skin color, what your feelings, who you are. Like, don't let anybody tell you or let any outside external circumstances change for what you were meant for in this world. You are meant for everything and more. And it all starts with now, right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, now. Take ownership of your life right now and tap into that leader within. And if you live that through that leader within, live your best life, I guarantee you, you will create so much impact in the world around you.